On this episode of the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica, we head back to the 1980s, where a TV network tried to campaign for a bigger audience with a special secret weapon, their own fake band. This is the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. Welcome to the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. I'm Charles. There's T-Mike.
Howdy, howdy.
There's special guest Jason Torchinsky.
Hello.
And for this episode, we're going to visit the greatest accomplishment in American history, TV in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're going to look at one fake band that tried to shape a whole network. But first, is there anything we need to discuss, T-Mike? We get any emails?
No emails this week.
Par for the course.
Oh, wait. Actually, our previous emailer inner, Kent, is starting to add stuff to the website. So good job, Kent. Thanks.
So,
looking good.
What do you add?
Bunch of Disney kids show bands. So looking good.
Well, that's good because I don't watch those anymore.
Exactly.
My kids are in their 20s, so it doesn't make sense for me to be watching Disney programs, except I had to do it for that one show.
You're not, it's not your, you and your kids' comfort show. You can, on Christmas and Thanksgiving, you just sit down with an episode of
That's
Happy
the
Little
McLaughlin group.
No.
Right.
Anything in our P.O. box?
No.
We have a P.O. box?
We do not.
No.
Get well soon to Alan's child bride, Jamie.
No, that's the bride he had a child with.
Oh. Alan's there taking care of her.
Let me see if I can log into her My Chart here.
Sounds good.
Figure out what's going on.
Alan's taking care of her. That's why he's not here.
What a good husband, though.
So we decided to go with Alan 2.0 and get Jason in here.
There we go.
We don't have this giant vehicle blocking all the cars in the driveway.
Nobody knows.
And we don't have all those scholarly journals he has us read for these things. Ooh, this has got some great stuff in here that you're going, no, we don't care, Alan. We have Wikipedia. We don't need your scholarly journals.
And I find the vocabulary lists he gives us for the episodes a little insulting.
It's not needed. Jason has words we use at least.
That's right.
He's made me buy a subscription to the Utney Reader.
You're terrible. You're just a guest.
I'm just a guest.
You're a man of the people, Jason. That's why we love you.
So last week we did a show about trying to play a board game about fake bands.
Oh man, I never said the word knob so much in my entire life that night.
No one can figure out how to play that game by listening to us. That's for one.
Oh.
You know the part where there's a KRS-One lyric, but we must move ahead?
Yeah, I saw you drop that in.
At that point, when I was editing, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play this until I laugh. And at that point, I'll cut everything between this point and I laughed, and I'll put that blurb there. 10 minutes. I cut out 10 minutes of what I'm recording. 2 rounds, almost 2 full rounds I cut out of our game.
Much improved,
Did
Charles.
you finish the game?
Yes. Well, it is self-contained. Like it does, it only lets you do so many rounds. So there's not like the win condition is just most points at the end of the so many rounds.
How unusual for a game. The most points win.
Yeah, go figure.
It was
fascinating.
It seemed like it was going great.
Yeah.
And then you're starting to edit it, and then you're like, okay, it's my turn, and
all right. Let's not relive the horror. Let's not relive the horror. It's like we were like playing the game at a McDonald's speaker at the drive-thru. Like I will take a burger of some kind.
It's like, do we think that's slow? Do we really think that's slow? I'm going to play Pink, and then it's like, what's Pink? What are they talking about?
Let's try to pick it up tonight. All right?
And by the way, one of the most popular episodes we've had in the past month.
Man.
I don't understand the internet.
Well, there's also a little bit of fake band news.
There is. Tell me.
The K-pop Demon Hunters, even though that movie came out last June, is still rampaging on the charts. Charles, you looked it up, and the song Golden is at number 5 still.
It's going to be there forever.
Number 5 after 39 weeks?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Actually, I found something fun. I thought was funny. So McDonald's is going to put out 2 K-pop Demon Hunters adult Happy Meals. It's like a Happy Meal, but it has for adults because they have
like a 1040 form in there.
Yeah,
some pornography.
Mm-hmm. It comes with your choice of demon sauce or hunter sauce.
I actually looked it up. Let me see.
Those are like spicy.
And this is a restaurant.
A Scottish restaurant. Yeah.
So there's 2 different ones. There's one for there's
the Saha Boys,
and there's one for the Saja Boys.
Yeah, Saja Boys. Sorry.
And the K-pop Demon Hunters one has your nuggets. but it also has like, the shake and bake kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
They have like shake and bake for your fries.
I made shake and bake, and that helped. I remember it. You put it in a bag. You can put anything, and you can shake and bake anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be chicken.
Yeah, that's true.
So the Huntrix meal is going to be 10 pieces of chicken nuggets.
Okay.
Or the McNuggets. I'm sorry, it's McDonald's McNuggets. You get a medium drink and then the Ramyeon McShaker fries.
What does that mean?
It has a soy, garlic, sesame, and spice seasoning inspired by their go-to noodle snack.
Oh.
You sprinkle the seasoning into the McShaker bag.
Oh, my.
Toss in the fries and shake to distribute the seasoning on the fries.
You're doing the work yourself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You can change. You can change the amount of spice you want. You might just want half spice.
Oh, you can also just get your valet to do it. Probably.
Exactly. Exactly. Get your bootblack to do it for you.
Yeah.
And then it comes with Hunter sauce, which is a sweet chili sauce mixing notes of chili, garlic, and pepper with just enough heat. And then there's Demon sauce, which is a bold mustard sauce with heat and tang, made purple like demon patterns.
Like demon.
So purple mustard is what they're going to have.
Purple demon mustard.
And it has tang in it, you said? Underused spice, tang.
Yes.
Underused spice.
All right, let's get on to our topic then.
All right, yeah, fine.
Rudy and the Young Hawks and the NBC ecosystem.
Wow.
No, I did not just have a stroke making up things. It'll all make sense in a minute.
I haven't thought about these guys in a long time.
Yeah.
It's something, it's amazing we haven't talked about it at all. It hadn't come up yet. But I guess we've been trying not to just talk about our wheelhouse.
There's certain things that are too big, to like just mention in an episode that's about mostly other things. We want to like save it all for one big episode.
The medium of TV is almost 100 years old.
Hold on, can I jump in for a sec?
Yes.
Okay, so since we're talking about early TV, I just want to do a slight digression.
This is one of your favorite topics.
A slight digression. You know about mechanical television?
Mechanical television.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Baird? What was his name?
John Logie Baird.
Yeah.
Who is one of my favorite people ever. Okay, I'm just going to take 2 minutes here.
Yeah.
So there was a way to do TV that didn't use electronics, with spinning discs called Nipkow discs, and they had spinning discs and these synchronized lights. And this dude who made this, the first person to figure out how to send images over the air, was the guy who the only other thing he ever invented was an undersock. That was it. He made an undersock, and then he solved one of the greatest electromagnetic problems in the world.
And he mic drop. That's all you got to do, man.
That's the other thing. Like his first ones were made out of literal garbage. They were just like old sewing machine motors. And he built this rig in his aunt's attic. And he had all these members from the British Royal Society come up to check it out. And the thing was so poorly built. He had these glass lenses in this disc. It was spinning. And as he was making it work and they were all watching, the lenses started to fly out and just like shatter on the walls. And somehow someone got him an eyeball because it has this fluid in it that supposedly is he was using selenium, but this stuff was supposedly more reactive, and he tried using this eyeball as an experiment, and it didn't work, and he threw it in the Thames. Anyway, I love this guy. He figured out the first TV broadcasts over the BBC were using his mechanical televisor system.
Yeah, Nipkow discs. Look it up, people. It's fascinating.
It didn't go on, but John Logie Baird is an amazing dude.
You said all of this. My one question is, what's an undersock?
It's a great question. It's literally what you think.
It is a sock under my sock.
Under another sock. Because he was really sickly and his feet were always cold and he got tired of having cold, wet feet. So he invented an undersock.
Instead of having a thicker sock.
Instead of having, maybe it did some wicking
away.
Oh,
wicking is huge.
Oh, yeah, they have that for when you go hiking. That was a big thing of Boy Scouts.
He invented wicking.
I think he worked with wicking.
Fantastic.
Anyway, go ahead. I just want to talk about mechanical TV.
The medium of TV is almost 100 years old.
Wait, let me do... Oh, I did.
Having debuted in the U.S. in May 10th, 1928. However, it took about 20 years until TV as we know it became like a true staple of everyday life, right? Early television shows were visual versions of current popular radio programs, so you could finally figure out that the guy was talking to a wooden dummy.
Oh, right.
Edgar
Charlie
Bergen.
McCarthy,
yes. Or ways to get one-act dramas from the stage to the living room. Took about a decade for TV to become seen as its own art medium. Later, it was the creation of color television that helped push the medium from art to business. I think T. Mikey mentioned on an earlier show the rural purge.
Oh, yeah, that was in 1970. There was all
Did I catch you in the middle of eating a snack there?
Oh.
Your mouth full of a donut hole or something.
I remember you talking about this in the 30 Rock episode.
Yeah, so there was like this, basically I forget which network it was, but they had like Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies. So these were all like these, country fried, folksy shows, and they were very popular. But the networks were like, we're sick to the teeth of this stuff. They've been running for years. And we want to like change our market focus to more urban markets because that's like the growing market. And we're going to just like, so they basically kicked all these like hick shows to the curb.
Genres like westerns and rural-oriented sitcoms got replaced with newer, more modern series targeting wealthy suburban and urban viewers with their color TV sets.
And their money.
And their little flashy kind of psychedelic laugh-in shows so you can see all the colors. Laugh-in's not the same when it's black and white, I'll tell you that. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, after about 25 years of dominance as the only game in town, the broadcast networks met their latest competition, cable television. Now there were more channels vying for the eyes of the viewing public. So let's go to the spring of 1983. A beautiful time. We have the major networks competing amongst themselves for the most viewers and trying to keep this upstart cable TV as a fad. They're laying out the groundwork for the coming 1983-84 broadcast year, and NBC was in trouble. NBC has been mired in third place for a while, with very few of their shows making it to the Nielsen Top 20. A few years earlier, NBC elevated Brandon Tartikoff to president of NBC's entertainment division, with Tartikoff becoming the youngest head of a network at age 32.
Wow.
Seems too young.
It is. Well, I mean, he's notable for that, and also because why do I remember the name of a network TV executive, but I remember that guy's name?
That's why he's notable, because you know his name?
I'm like, there's like a handful of TV people I know. I mean, I know more, I guess I know a little more than most people, but like...
He's notable because I noted him.
Exactly.
Duly noted. He does turn around the network, but in 1983, the change was just starting. And to be honest, Brandon Tartikoff is not a Tartikoff we care about for this show. It's his brother, Scott Tartikoff.
Yes, Scott.
Nepo baby!
Who was hired as an executive in December 1982, and his brainchild we'll be discussing shortly. For the 1982-83 year, NBC had one top 10 program, The A-Team, at number 10.
All right. Wow, it was only at number 10.
Well, that was this year.
That year.
More on The A-Team much later.
Okay.
So much more on The A-Team. I love that show. That was my jam.
Great show. Everybody.
That was my jam.
We all love that show.
Only 3 other shows even made the top 30.
Wow.
Hill Street Blues is 21. Little House, A New Beginning.
A Little House on the Prairie
28.
sequel. Right. Wow.
And Real People at number 30.
Oh, man.
Skip, somebody was on there.
Oh, yeah.
Stevenson.
Skip Stevenson. Yeah.
You guys watch
Allen.
Real People?
I did watch Real People.
Yeah.
It was basically...
That explains a lot.
It was memes back before there were memes.
It was like, here's a funny picture, here's like a mistake newspaper
here's like
headline.
a cat who like does a line of coke or whatever.
Exactly.
That explains a lot.
Toddler falls in.
I was watching The Fall Guy at the time. Real Americans watch The Fall Guy, not watching Real People.
But it's real people.
Real people watch The Fall Guy. That's shameful.
Your premise is flawed,
and
sir.
New shows like Knight Rider were starting, but not ready to lead the network to the top. So NBC had to build an audience, and then they had to retain it. Now, there are different tactics a network can do to try to draw in new viewers and get them to stay on the channel. One way is with quality award-winning television, so we can strike that one.
No, not the way.
Another way is to go to assisted living homes, put the TV on your network, take the batteries out of the remote, or maybe just break the knob off the TV.
Yeah, but there's probably a manpower problem.
Yes,
there's logistics.
Really, you need to build shows that people want to see, but it takes time to build that audience. So one thing you could do is a crossover episode. Where
oh, yeah. I love crossovers.
2 shows interact with each other. Usually they're the same genre, and each cast appears on each other's show, like different strokes in the facts of life.
Mm-hmm. Or sometimes like it's like what they call like a backdoor pilot, where it's an episode of a show, but really it's to spin off another new show out of that show.
Remember when Morley Safer and Harry Reasoner were on Perfect Strangers and they did the 60 Minutes Perfect Strangers crossover? I loved that one.
I think that's in the Smithsonian. I think that is.
That
I think they just run that in the background.
Definitely in the Paley Center for TV.
They had a Bronson Pinchot and Andy Rooney in like the slap fight.
Oh man,
10 minutes.
Yeah,
it's still a record for the longest slap fight
on TV.
On network television.
Network television.
Yeah. So currently, NBC has its one Chicago night on Wednesdays. Are you guys familiar with this at all?
No, not. But tell me.
You have Chicago Med at 8, Chicago Fire at 9, and Chicago PD at 10.
Is that true?
Yes.
Wow.
Chicago Med, Fire, and PD.
Yes.
Do they have like Chicago
Coast Guard
and Power?
I think they also had, there was another Chicago show, but these 3 shows, that's a Wednesday night block on NBC.
Why do we care that much about Chicago Municipal Services?
Well, characters bleed through one show to the other. So like if you're watching like Chicago PD and somebody gets shot, they take them to the Chicago Med. Characters are there fixing them kind of thing. Somebody's stealing drugs in Chicago Med, they call the PD, and then there's a fire in the middle somewhere.
I mean, it's the same city.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that seems like a great idea.
So, you have all this bleed over. Then they have at least one special event night every year where it's like a one show, all three casts kind of thing.
So, these shows are kind of like, taking a lesson and improving upon
about what we're about to talk about.
What we're about to talk about here.
And these shows are connected to the Law and Order universe.
Oh, wow.
Which have two shows on Thursday. So you can see these characters like 5 times in 2 nights.
Law and Order universe is in different cities, though, right? It's not all Chicago.
No, those are even New York, I think.
Yeah, it's all over. I think.
But it's still the same. That you'll have people like, the Law and Order people, for some reason, they got to tip a guys in Chicago.
Yeah, it's all the same universe.
Is this what they do instead of like Battle of the Network Stars now?
Yeah, I kind of miss Battle of the Network Stars.
No, this is all the same network. This is all.
I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all these shows are the same network.
Right.
We don't have people from ABC jumping over in there. That would get really weird.
I don't even know what like mainstream network shows are anymore.
Well, there's so much TV out there on so many different streaming services that we don't have that unified. Like,
when was the last
culture.
time you turned on a broadcast channel?
The last time I watched a network television is what you're saying?
Yeah, Well,
I mean, I'm watching the NCAA tournament right now. Does that count?
Sporting event doesn't count. I mean, like a show.
There's a scripted.
I watch Ghosts. I watch Ghosts. That's on CBS.
Okay.
What's that? Okay.
It's a good show. Have you not talked about this before? We'll talk about Ghosts. Okay. Off mic, we'll talk about that.
All right, moving on.
Okay, so we talked about, I talked about Law and Order universe. You've heard about the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Exactly, yeah.
This idea can be traced back to what we're going to talk about, comes back to the idea of Scott Tartikoff, brother of NBC president Brandon Tartikoff.
Nepo baby.
The brothers were sitting in the NBC offices late one night, just brainstorming with a few of their confidants as they watched their primetime fare. They were looking at show ideas that had been pitched, discussing which shows would get the axe, trying to figure out, how to make this a number 1 network, maybe even a number 2 network, at least stay number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read this.
PBS inch up on it.
Exactly. I'm going to read this passage from the 1997 book by Max Holthauser entitled The Tartikoff Empire.
All right, and now I know Alan wrote this.
This is from chapter 1982-83. It's page 104. The opening scene of the next program started and the room turned to discuss its ultimate demise. Its pedigree was unassailable, the cast interplayed masterfully, and the critics loved it all. None of that mattered, though. What mattered were the eyes of the American families not watching the commercials between acts about a bunch of locals in a Boston bar. The show was destined to be canceled. The theme for the show, a theme that would become one of the most beloved TV theme songs in the history of TV, started to lull into the room.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
That one phrase stuck in Scott Tartikoff's head, the premise of the entire show. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Great show.
Scott turns to his brother. Did you just interrupt me reading a passage from this book?
Sorry.
How rude.
Sorry.
How rude. Mr. Holthauser, I apologize for him interrupting the passage of your book. Scott turned to his brother and said, what if the NBC lineup was somewhere where everybody knew everybody's name? 5 hours later, the first draft of the NBC ecosystem was finished.
Is that what they actually called it?
They called it the NBC ecosystem. This is before Cinematic Universe.
Ecosystem.
I love saying it, though. NBC ecosystem.
Yeah, nice.
And so the whole part about NBC ecosystem, you have your shows that if you're watching a show on the network, it's like you think it's present day. Unless it's like Little House on the Prairie.
Right, yeah. Like, if it's not obviously set in the past.
Which takes place far in the future.
Yes.
It takes place during the present, yeah.
So they're like, what if we can link? You have some shows like Cheers is in Boston, Different Strokes is in New York, Facts of Life is, upstate New York, I believe. Then you got A-Team and Knight Rider over in Southern California. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What if you could show that they're connected somehow, that they're in the same worlds? And you can do that with crossovers.
But if they're not, like the cast, there's got to be a reason for the cast to be in a different state. If they're not in the same state.
Yes. Sorry. You just cracked the nut wide open.
Reason.
Exactly. And so what if we have these characters? What if
Mr. T had to help a friend move in Iowa.
Exactly. But what if there were characters that would go in all the other shows as well? Kind of like secondary characters that connected all of the shows. And that's where it became, this is a whole ecosystem, the NBC ecosystem.
Stop saying NBC ecosystem.
I almost say it a lot because that's what it's called. Now, you couldn't do it with Little House on the Prairie because it took 100 years.
You have to dig up a corpse.
Unless they had Quantum Leap at this point where they could have gone back, but Quantum Leap was.
They could visit a grave.
Or they could do a time travel episode. Or, for Knight Rider, they could point out that the original one was a Conestoga wagon.
Yeah, the original kit.
The original kit.
Yeah.
But
mule brain.
So some of them don't get to play. But they're like, we could try to connect everything together with these characters.
With background, not background, but
secondary,
tier, like the
like they were
or third tier maybe.
They just were added to the story. Like, whatever the plot was, these were characters that were either maybe in the background or maybe they were major parts, but they were always there. They were named, known quantities.
Okay.
The original thinking was a traveling sitcom. It would be a core group of characters, like a basic overlying plot for them. And then instead of being their own show now, they would go from show to show, interacting kind of with other characters. Like imagine the 4 main characters in Seinfeld, but they didn't have their own show. But instead, like they would have 20 minutes of their observational comedy on an episode of ER. Right? You would just watch a show, and then all of a sudden, there's these 4 guys again.
I'm intrigued.
Hard to pull off because you'd have to justify why these people were roaming around the country nonstop.
Yeah. Exactly. Well,
maybe Jerry Seinfeld wouldn't have been bad because he is a comedian. He could have been
traveling. So there's certain circumstances under which this works, and that's what we're going to get into here.
Yeah, okay.
But so they were thinking, okay, we have these characters go around and do their traveling sitcom.
Yeah.
And then after a year, they've also, not only have they linked all the audiences together and try to retain everybody watching, they would also be prepared for when they could start their own show the next year. Right. Because they have a built-in audience. And then they're by the way, here's their show.
Right.
Well, after discussing with a few of the showrunners, they realized it'd be too disruptive for the writers and the actors and the flow of the current shows. Didn't make sense for a lot of them.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. So they asked the showrunners, well, what if we just give you like a character or two or a couple or something that you can all kind of link everything together? And they were like, okay, that makes more sense.
No, they had to tone it down a notch. It was too ambitious an idea. I think it's a great idea, but it's too ambitious. They had to pull it back in, had to rein it back in.
Right. Well, part of it was that it started too late in the process. Like it wasn't like 2 years ahead of time we're going to do it. They were just like, we need to do this and do this now. But then they were watching. They get the Cheers jingle and everything. And one thing I forgot to mention, that actually saved Cheers. Right. Cheers was going to be cut that year. It was going to be canceled. But because they were like, this all came from that theme song, we'll give it one more year.
People forget. I mean, it wasn't like the Netflix era where it's like, oh, you did adequate, canceled. It's like they let a sitcom grow for like a season or two. Yeah. And everyone, Cheers has got a great reputation as a classic sitcom now.
Right.
But that first season, it was very shaky. It was not, it was very unclear if it was going to make it.
But they were going to get rid of it. And then once they started talking about this, then they were kind of like, well, I tell you what, and we'll give them one more year.
And it grew and the writing improved.
Became a number one TV show.
Exactly. Classic.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine if some shows were cut off early. Like imagine if Small Wonder was cut off before the first 48 seasons.
You and Small Wonder. Nobody knows what that is.
Everyone knows Small Wonder. What was that even on a network?
No, I think it was syndicated. Like She's the Sheriff, and
I want to say it was on the Fliz network. Is that a thing?
Fliz.
Is there a Fliz network?
Dumont. I think it was on the Fliz. Dumont network.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
If you had to get to it by going between the UHF and VHF in your dial, just the right
the
way.
UVHF. Yeah.
Okay, so they're looking. Okay, we want some characters to be the connective tissue. So they're like, okay, one person that they were like, we need to get is Judy Landers. Now, we've talked about Judy Landers before.
She's great.
She plays like the ditzy blonde.
Sexy ditzy blonde.
She kind of has a Barbie figure.
What show was she on?
She was on a lot of things.
She was, at this point, like she'd been really working for like past 6 seasons, TV seasons, but she was on like 20 different shows.
Yeah.
She was like, Fall Guy, TJ Hooker, I think, or something. Chips. She was always kind of like a damsel.
The one with the cow cartoonist? Was she
Too Close for Comfort?
Too Close.
She kind of looks like her, but
like
not.
That blonde?
Okay. But not.
Yeah. Okay.
She still had magnificent Farrah Fawcett hair, like she did.
And she's got the sex appeal.
She always played like a damsel in distress. Sometimes she was like a naive kind of, I'm not supposed to be wearing a bikini, just walking around kind of thing.
Or,
they kind of really pushed
fish out of water. Country girl, simple country girl comes to the big
as
city.
They would say that she tested well. Is that the business? So they were like, we want her because she's being sought after for all these other shows. We want to lock her down.
She's a known quantity.
We want to make her like NBC exclusive.
Yeah.
She's a known quantity. We want her. The next person selected was Miguel Ferrer. And you might know him as a great actor now. You've seen him in tons of things. You've seen him in RoboCop, lots of things. But at this point, he was only the son of Jose Ferrer and Rosemary Clooney.
Oh, yeah, who was George Clooney's uncle.
Never, baby!
Thank you. But he was starting to get a little buzz in Hollywood himself. He was starting to get a bunch of roles done. And they were like, I think he's going to be the next big thing. So we need to get him as well. So they signed Judy Landers. They signed Miguel Ferrer. And then they're like, well, what are we going to do with them? We got to figure out something. They thought maybe a honeymooning couple because they're roughly the same age. At one point, they pitched something that sounded almost like the X-Files. Like that they were two like government, partnerships.
Oh, investigating things in different cities. Okay. Yeah. That could work.
That would have been crazy if they would have done X-Files before X-Files with those two.
Yeah, that would have been wild.
But nothing seemed to connect until Ferrer mentioned his love of drumming. And that's when this finally comes into something we care about, a fake band. That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So they're like, oh, okay. He likes to drum. We could have a drummer. We could have a band.
We got a sexy lady.
They could go all around the country.
Right, bands go on tour.
Exactly. It would work.
That was the brilliant thing. It's like that works.
And so at this point, NBC is, one group. Like, okay, you guys think of the name of the band, the backstory, get this information, the different shows, get them writing things, and then we'll cast it. We'll find the casting. And the casting is incredible. I mean, the band, okay, it's going to be a 5-member band. You have Miguel Ferrer on drums. He plays Butch.
Okay. Right. Yeah, Butch.
You got Landers' character, Jessie. She's backup vocals and tambourine.
Yeah.
Which is,
pretty stock, sexy girl stuff.
This was the first person they picked. They were like, we need to have her. Let's make her a backup vocals and tambourine, right? We're blazing new ground on the concept with this NBC ecosystem. Maybe not with gender equality, but we're really, it just didn't make sense, that part. But so they need a bass player, they need a keyboardist, and they need a frontman guitarist.
It's the 80s. You got to have keyboard.
So for Specs, the guitarist, they picked a young actor. Specs, because eyeglasses were pretty new back then. Right. So they thought,
I was one of the first. I was in that early experimental cadre. Yeah.
It wasn't like shades like from the Wonders from The Thing You Do, where he's wearing sunglasses. No, there's Specs. He just had glasses. He was the only person with glasses. He was Specs. They picked a young actor who was making his name in theater. He was also a classically trained pianist, and you know him as William H. Macy.
Bill Macy?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that incredible?
Holy crap.
This was one of his
really
big first
early roles.
Yeah. That was really oh, crap.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love William H. Macy?
Everybody loves William H. Macy, but it's like this doesn't get any traction with his fans because he's done so much else.
Oh, yeah. You think of Fargo, you think of lots of other things, but you don't think of him for that. So for Casey...
Mystery Men, I thought that was brilliant.
For Casey, the bass player, they went someone who looks tough in case a storyline needed a fight to break out or something along that line.
Oh, yeah.
They chose a complete newcomer, giving the first big showbiz break to Michael Rooker. You know who Michael Rooker is?
Oh, I feel like I should know that.
Well, he is famous now for playing Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right, the blue
guy with the big
mohawk.
fin mohawk.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. So he's the bass player. Oh. So all that's left was to pick Rudy, the lead singer and guitarist.
All right, now this is tricky because they got to be charismatic. Exactly.
They have to be. They're going to be the main focal point, right?
I mean, William H. Macy is obviously some comic relief kind of guy.
This is a guy who's going to be destined to be a star once this is done because he's going to be the face of this band and this is going to succeed. So we need to have a big star. Now here are some actors who auditioned and did not get. Bryan Cranston.
Wow, really?
Right? Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle. Billy Bob Thornton.
Really?
Oscar winner.
William Robert Thornton.
Yeah. George Clooney.
Okay,
George Clooney was.
Yeah, well, he was nobody back then. So
I think he was in one of the Attack of the Killer Tomato movies, if I remember.
Right, yes.
Remember a podcast I listened to.
And wasn't he in an episode of Golden Girls also?
I think he was in Making It Fresh. Was that a show? Making It Fresh?
Could be.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but George Clooney, yes. These are some big time names. Maybe not then, but now. So you got to think there's got to be the greatest actor of their generation who beat them. And of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, Toby Riggins.
Oh yes, Toby Riggins.
Toby Riggins.
The Tobster.
If you look at his,
Mortis.
If you're going to look at his Wikipedia page is almost like a Wikipedia because there's not enough space for the whole Wikipedia. It's that small. It's very, very. You'll know why. Anyway, it's a band. The story of the band's not too original. They're a hardworking bar band trying to make it famous, touring around the country, which is how this all works, right?
Yeah.
All they needed was the name.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of time and money in focus groups to find the right name for the band that would elevate NBC to a higher level of success. Here are a few of the rejected names. The Transactors?
No.
Monster X?
No.
Drop of a Hat?
That's just weird.
Actual size.
Also weird.
Instead, they went with a name that tested the best. Rudy and the Young Hawks.
Really?
Terrible name.
It's not great. It's too unwieldy.
Well,
I mean, if they had dropped like the Rudy part, it might have worked.
It's a very old sounding name.
It is.
Right?
Well, I mean, so an 80s band.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. So like, so and so and the such and such that's a very 50s style band, rock and roll band name. And see, in the early 80s, the 50s are making a comeback. So I think it's a throwback to that.
Oh, you think so?
Like Huey Lewis and the News.
Well, that's true. Okay. That's one.
All right. Yeah. And now moving on, having proved my point with a single anecdotal piece of
Smith
evidence.
and the Cures. They're big.
Okay. So here we do. We have the band. We have the NBC ecosystem. And we have a new season starting. The question is, how successful will this plan be? After the break, we'll talk about the NBC lineup where Rudy and the Young Hogs entertained the world. This is the Rockabee Fake Bandica. Okay, we're back, and now the NBC ecosystem is in full effect. I want to say it again one more time. NBC ecosystem. It's a wonderful name. We need to have something like that. Yeah, they made the band. The shows have all found some way to work Rudy and the Young Hawks.
Shoehorn might be a better word.
Some yes, some no. But
what year would this have been, Charles?
This is 1983-84. This is the best time to watch TV. This is
it's got
locked
some good
in.
stuff.
Locked in at this point. This is also when my family brought in the VHS.
Oh yeah, VHS was getting big.
The VCR. We got the VCR for the first time and everything. All of a sudden it was like, ooh.
It was a game changer, people. People don't get it. I remember when you could actually rent the player. It came in like this weird plastic green suitcase.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that you couldn't steal it, and then
you could steal it.
Well, all right, yeah, but not easily.
But everybody would know because he had a giant orange.
Yeah.
My dad borrowed somebody's VCR and it had a remote control with a cord.
Oh, yeah.
But then,
we had one of those.
He got one and it had one without a cord.
Wireless.
And I was like, whoa, this is a game changer.
I remember my friend had one that was a top loader even.
I remember the top loaders.
Top loaders, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the first generation.
And then I could record A-Team Riptide Remington Steel.
Oh, the block, yeah.
I'd watch A-Team and then, the next day I could watch Riptide Remington because it was past my bedtime.
Right.
And then the next week, I would cue it up to after the A-Team, and then I'd start recording A-Team, Riptide, Remington Steel. So I'd have a tape full of A-Team.
There you go.
I see.
When it's all done, I have 6 episodes of the A-Team.
But you could, that's pretty clever.
Yeah, I'm a smart man back then. I was smart.
Man.
What happened?
I don't know. Started hanging out with you, I think. Okay, so as you'll see, some of these shows are fully on board with the, complete NBC team players. Others saw themselves as auteurs who were making TV for history and not NBC. They tended to barely use the band.
That would be Alf.
And then you had shows that just didn't know how to include them. So here are some places. So let's start with the beginning, the band's first appearance in the NBC ecosystem.
Dun, dun, dun.
The season premiere of the network's #1 show, The A-Team.
Woo!
Maybe the finest American product of all time.
At least those early 80s years, yes.
Mount Rushmore, I wouldn't mind if they just take Teddy Roosevelt's face off and put Mr. T's face on there.
I could see that.
Right. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic. It was the greatest show. And right now, Mr. T, star among stars. Yeah. This was the height of his popularity.
Was there ever an American better at pitying fools than Mr. T? I don't think there was.
Not one.
That's right.
Rocky 3, where he played Clubber Lang. Now he's got, I think for this season, he'll end up being the #4 show in the country. Loved by everybody.
No, it was a very popular
show. Those of you who don't know Mr. T, strong black man with
pity those fools.
Pity those fools. Had a mohawk. He had those feathered roach clip earrings
and these massive amounts of gold
70 pounds
jewelry.
of chains.
70 pounds of gold chains.
Striking figure. Yeah. Any way you slice it.
Fantastic. And the rest of the people, they had Howling Mad Murdoch on there, who was their pilot, who was crazy. He had he probably had post-traumatic stress. Yeah. He probably had all these, and so, everybody else was a fugitive, but he could be in the
the vet hospital.
In the vet hospital because, of his issues.
Out. Yeah, they break him out when they needed him.
But he could leave and come, I guess, because he'd leave for like months at a time to travel with the A-Team, and then he'd go back, and everybody seemed fine with it.
Yeah.
And then the army's chasing him down. because the Army's got to hunt them down because they're fugitives. Because they're accused of a crime they didn't commit.
Is that crime ever made clear? What
they in Vietnam? Yeah, I think there's like an episode or two where it
was something.
They were like asked to like go grab like a enemy bank or something, and then the money disappeared. And anyway, there's like an episode 2 where it all gets explained and where the plot is more fleshed out. But let's not get.
But basically, they're four Vietnam vets who are running from the law. And they help injustice. So they fight crime.
Fight injustice.
While people are trying to arrest them. They're getting people so the people who are always chasing them down, like the Army's always chasing them down and end up being like cops at the end, cleaning up everything because the A-Team has solved everything.
Right.
That's basically.
All the bad guys off.
The Army never catches the A-Team, but they catch the bad guys that the A-Team
I think that's like one of the finales, though, is they finally do, and then they prove their innocence, and then they're free.
Don't jump ahead.
Right, anyway.
Don't jump ahead.
Sorry.
Spoilers.
For a night.
Spoilers
for
too,
a
Mike.
50-year-old show, right?
Okay, so what's wild about this episode is that the creator of the A-Team, Stephen J. Cannell.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't mind if they'd cut off Theodore Roosevelt's face off of Mount Rushmore, put Stephen J. Cannell's face on there.
He was unusually good at Stephen J.
Aaron
Cannell.
Spelling.
He could whip a piece of paper out of a typewriter and it would just cascade onto a pile.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
His form was so graceful.
You should see what his name is attached to in TV history. It is stunning how many shows I was like, yep. Seen that? Yep. Seen that?
Yep.
All the way down.
Like Aaron Spelling. I mean, Aaron Spelling in the 70s, Stephen J. Cannell in the 80s.
It's fantastic. Anyway, he had already shot the premiere. He was all ready to go. Then he hears about it. He goes, I'm on board. I got it. Don't worry about it. I'll move what I've made as the premiere later in the schedule. I'll write a whole new episode. And supposedly, it took him 24 hours to write just a full ready-to-shoot script.
Damn.
Because, the guy's a machine.
He was, at the time.
Okay.
That or cocaine.
Well, but then again.
It could be two things, actually.
I mean, the A-Team's on the run. They hear through the grapevine an old comrade from their days in Vietnam's having troubles. I'm in my late 30s now, but I can see how formulaic it is.
Oh, yeah.
So it probably was a reason why it only took him 24 hours. Because he just probably pulled like some sort of outline off the shelf kind of thing. I think we'll go with the 3F today. So anyway, so the heroes are running from Colonel Decker and the U.S. Army. They make it to Paso Robles to find their friend Johnny Ramirez. Family owns a restaurant in town, but a gang of bikers are trying to muscle their way in so they can use it as a way station for their drugs, the drug business that they have.
Right.
It's here at the restaurant where we meet Rudy and the Young Hawks for the first time. Do you guys remember this episode? I remember this episode.
I'm not sure I saw it originally, but
was it a Mexican restaurant?
Yes.
I do remember it.
They were there to play at the restaurant, but then it got caught up in this whole fight and everything.
Right.
And I remember distinctly just how they introduced everyone in the band, and I thought even then it seemed really odd. Because these were guys, I mean, it's not like in Star Wars where they played this song. But the owner of the bar says to Obi-Wan and Luke, let me introduce you to the band. This was Figure and Dan, the Modal Notes. Here's Figure and Dan, Doak Nats, Ichabod Gaunt, Lynn Carr, Nyland Shields, Sunil Edie. They didn't go through the whole list.
No, yeah.
But this is like, this is the band. They've come. They're Rudy, the Young Hawks. Here's Rudy. Here's Specs. And I remember as a kid going, why am I meeting the band?
Yeah, and everybody, and each member got like a line, they didn't just like nod or something.
Right, they focused on them.
And it's like, it was very unnatural feeling.
But I could just remember. Just
good writing.
Like, I think I was 12 years old. Just going, well, wait, why? Why do I
It's almost as if he wrote the episode in 24 hours or something.
Anyway, the bikers and the mobsters backing them surround the restaurant. The A-Team work its magic with its preparation montage. Do you remember those?
They always welding stuff.
They were always.
I remember one with a Lacar that they turned into a tank. It was fantastic.
Yeah, always welding something. I remember they took like an army cot style bed apart and turned it into a bolt thrower.
The A-Team has their montage, and then with Johnny Ramirez and KC, the bass player, they defeat the army bad guys without anyone getting hurt, which was the best part about the A-Team.
Oh yeah,
you could have people that were shooting like 20,000 rounds of ammunition. Yeah. And nobody got hurt.
Yeah, and whenever they somebody be racing a car around, and then there'd be like an explosion, and they would like flip over, and then they would crawl out.
Okay, so anyway, our fugitives hide long enough for the army to swoop in and arrest the bad guys, and then our heroes come back and they eat and drink and be merry with the happy family, and Rudy and the Young Hawks tear into what's supposed to be their big hit, "Falling for You."
Treat your mother right. Treat her right. Treat her right.
Mother, there is no other like mother, so treat her right. Mother, I always love her, my mother, so treat her right, treat her right. M is for the moan and the miserable groan from the pain that she felt when I was born. O is for the oven with its burning heat, where she stood making sure I had something to eat. T is for the time that she stayed up nights and took my temperature when I wasn't feeling right. H is for the hard-earned money she spent to keep clothes on my back and try to pay the rent. E is every wrinkle I put on her face and every worry that I caused when I stayed out late. The last letter R is that she taught me respect, and for the room up in heaven that I know she'll get. Mother, there is no other like mother, so treat her right. Mother, I always love her, my mother, so treat her right, treat her right.
Treat her right, treat your mother right. Treat her right, treat her right.
Actually, that's the Mother's Day rap by Mr. T.
Charles, you couldn't find a clip?
Oh, we'll hear it later on. They played the song other times, but when are you going to get to hear Mr. T rap an acrostic for the word mother?
It's true. You don't hear that often enough. He had a whole album. It's worth watching.
I'm making the clips. I'm making the clips, and then I'm like, no, I need to have the Mr. T rap. He's fantastic.
Okay.
All right. Well, this was one from Alan. He was talking about the first camera. Do you remember? You want to read that one to you, Mike?
Okay, well, I'm going to have to cut out the Alan stuff. Alan, couldn't be here, but he wrote this, so I'm going to cut out his personal references because he was a journalism major.
Right.
This show, First Camera, is a journalism show, so that's why he picked it. But let's see here. Oh, so First Camera was the last iteration of an NBC News magazine show that was just cursed from the beginning. Originally named Monitor after the hugely successful NBC radio show.
Or the famous Civil War Ironclad.
I think it was half of one, half the other.
I think it was filmed on the Monitor.
Yeah, I think it was filmed
early on, yeah. It was designed to target the audience between CBS's 60 Minutes and ABC's fluffier 2020.
Hugh Downs was on that show.
The thought
Hugh Downs.
The thought was that people wanted kind of a middle brow show that was entertaining but also challenging. Who was on that show, Jason?
No,
Barbara Walters.
Oh, okay.
They were saying Hugh Downs was fluff. That's what Benson's saying.
What?
Isn't that what he's saying?
That's some fighting words right there.
All right. From the outset, this show was one of the worst performing shows on TV, and when NBC renamed it and moved it to Sundays against 60 Minutes, it was even worse. Did minuscule viewers. The show was actually...
Like in numbers or were they just small people?
You Torchinsky.
Going up against 60 Minutes, I guess they realized
that was
people,
a juggernaut.
People didn't want the middle brow.
Yeah, that was just stupid. You don't, counter program people here.
You need the lowbrow stylings of Harry Reasoner.
That's right. The show was actually...
They're real people shows, what they should have put there.
Yeah.
Moron
right. So the show had actually already been canceled by the time Rudy the Young Hawks came along, but they devoted their opening segment to a bunch of back-patting interviews with Grant Tinker and Brendan Tartikoff, talking about viewers are going to love seeing this band appear in different shows.
That was their lead story of the week.
Yeah, I got a theory about why the show got canceled. Really like some self patting on the back there. So they don't really do much about the band itself, but Alan thought it was notable that they managed to mess up in the episode. Reporter Rebecca Sobel mixes up the drummer and guitarist roles, even though Miguel Ferrer is holding the drumsticks. Clearly, maybe she thought they were weird guitar picks. I don't know.
I'm the guitarist. That's why I'm holding these drumsticks, because the drummer would just be drumming the whole time.
All right, so that was the first appearance.
All right, Alan also wrote about St. Elsewhere. Let me read that one here for you. He's right. He says, I feel like Mary Tyler Moore was not 100% on board with this project since the only contribution from MTM was pretty throwaway.
Were they affiliated with NBC, MTM?
They were just like
that was a production company.
Yeah. Okay.
But so I think they've done stuff with all the networks, I think.
Right.
But,
yeah.
I remember the little kitty cat.
Oh, yeah, because that was a reference to the MGM lion logo. The lion roaring.
Did you watch St. Elsewhere?
I do remember St. Elsewhere. Yeah, I did.
Did you like to watch it though? Were you?
I didn't enjoy it. I tried it once or twice. I was not a fan.
I remember it was on a lot, and I remember watching it regularly. Like a lot of television, I can't tell if I enjoyed it anymore. It's like The Jeffersons. Did I enjoy an episode of The Jeffersons for the billions I've watched? I doubt it. I don't know how one could, But I
like to
nothing else. There was the top show and
that
its
show.
block. You know?
I like to think I loved the Jeffersons, but I haven't looked back. I saw Good Times with Tom.
Good Times
I
they made
remember.
more fun.
I remember laughing hysterically at
Yeah.
Good Times, and so I put Good Times on, and he was probably 14 or something. He's laughing hysterically at it.
Okay.
Wow.
I was sad.
It
was sad because of what the family's going through. It's terrible.
They were like broke.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
They were.
poverty.
That was like the thing. That was like
They were like $20 away from not being able to pay rent, and so
it was
It's stuff like
genuinely anxious. Like,
yeah, and I was like, but he's like me as a kid, not a care in the world, just laughing. The show's hysterical, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting choked up here. This family's going to be kicked out and everything.
Stuff hits different from young and old,
Yeah.
I mean, at least in the Jeffersons, they were moving on up.
All right. So Alan said I watched St. Elsewhere where I could, but seeing as how my bedtime was still 10 p.m. during the week, I had to sneak in viewings. I had my brother's old black and white TV from college. For some reason, it couldn't get the NBC station from Winston-Salem, so I watched the one from Roanoke.
That's a weird thing to be like sneakily watching in your room.
Isn't it though?
St. Elsewhere, yeah.
I used to.
Says a lot about Al.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the show where it was all in like like a snow globe in the mind of like?
Well, that was the last finale. They tried to. Yeah, they implied that everything was. It was almost as bad as a dream, but they implied everything was in the brain of like some autistic kid looking at a snow
and
globe.
Kit was in it. He was a surgeon.
Wait, I thought
The
that
voice,
was
not the
that was
car.
the crying game secret, wasn't it?
I
The
know.
snow globe.
All right, moving on.
Maybe I don't know the secret of the crying game.
No, wait. The snow globe was Rosebud. That was.
St. Elsewhere actually had a bunch of crossovers. Season 3 ended with the main doctors going to Cheers. Alfred Woodard and Ed Begley Jr. appeared on Homicide as their characters.
Jr. was on that
Yeah.
show.
From first drummer Spinal Tap.
And then later, Detective Munch was on SVU and Arrested Development.
Was that
even.
a dog? Was Detective Munch a dog?
No, he was that comedian guy.
Edward Monk, the painter?
No.
Dog.
Richard somebody.
Shark? I feel like if you're going to name a Detective Munch, it should be like a bulldog.
Dwayne McDuffie wrote a piece called 6 Degrees of St. Elsewhere that said something like 90% of shows in the 90s and 2000s were in the same universe as St. Elsewhere. I didn't remember the episode.
Richard Belzer. Damn it.
Yes, he was Detective Munch. Alan didn't remember this episode, so he looked it up on the Internet Archive, and he couldn't find any Rudy and the Young Hawks. Unfortunately, they have the syndicated version, and the band shows up in the cold open of the real version.
Oh, so they got cut out of the syndicated version. Oh, okay.
So $5.99 later, he gets to watch Orderly Luther, who's played by Eric Launeville.
I remember him.
And Dr. Wayne Fuskis.
That was Howie Mandel. I remember.
I don't know. How the hell did he get that serious job? I mean, he was like the
He was the
wackiest
zany guy.
He was the wacky, zany, like.
Where do you think he was getting the rubber gloves to put on his head?
Well, that's what this was. They were
There we
midway
go.
through making a bet about whether you could put a surgical glove on your head.
Yeah, that was
which was
okay.
That was his shtick from his stand-up.
Yeah. And so an EMT runs in pushing a gurney with KC on it. He's covered in bright red blood and he's yelling, "It came out of nowhere." And the rest of the band is all banged up and falling in, and they're dressed like they just got off stage, even though it's clearly midday. And Luther and Wayne squash up against the wall as they go by, and Jesse turns to them and says, "Dude, we were on the turnpike, and there was a sharp turn, and all of a sudden, dude, there was a boulder there." Wayne turns to Luther and says, "That's why I prefer soft rock." Waka, waka, waka. So they phoned it in. They totally phoned that one in.
Yeah.
There are a lot of shows that phoned it in, too. They just didn't play ball with it. I'll give you a couple of them. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
The band was supposed to play the back room.
I forgot about the back room.
The back room
That was
is-
like the other set in Barney Miller, where they just had like two sets. Like Barney's office, you like rarely got to see it.
They were playing the back room. The back room is just a pool table, basically. So they're like, it's too cramped to play because of the pool table. Carla hits on Rudy because of his tight pants.
Sure.
The band's like, well, we can set up, we'll play even if one person listens, that's all that matters. Cliff comes in, he starts to talk about bands that have, oh, well, this back room has seen lots of bands. And they all went, nope, and they just left. And then that was the end of the cold open, and then it was the music.
It's a good gag, but they didn't let the band
But they say
be
the
in
name
show.
of the band at any point. Like how
I
is
don't-
the viewer supposed
Well,
to
it's on the
know?
drum. They had a drum skin. The big bass drum had the name of the band on it. So whenever the drums are set up, it's in the shot. You can see the name of the band because that's part of.
But what
People, if you have a band, put your name on the big bass drum skin. I cannot stress this enough.
What boggles my mind is that Cheers didn't work with NBC, even though this band, this idea, saved them from being canceled.
Maybe they didn't know.
Maybe they didn't. You're right. Maybe they didn't say anything. But Cheers was just like, put them in the back room, then have them leave, and we're done. Facts of Life They didn't show the band, but the girls at the school talked about the band and which boy they liked and sang a little of the song Fallen for You. But this is a dirty bar band that's not famous and is touring around going, how do they know them?
It's a bit, well,
they're not on the radio.
Who is the bad girl in the Facts of Life?
Yeah.
Maybe
she might have known him, because she's the kind of
according to the
out and go to a
she
bar.
owned a denim jacket.
Well, that's the thing. The scholarly journals that Alan gives us to read and everything. One of them was just like he was trying to give a pass to the Facts of Life because they're like, oh, there's no reason, they didn't have anything big about them.
These kids
there's no reason they would interact.
The kids are too young to go to a bar.
And as the minute I'm finished reading it, I go, girls get fake IDs and go to the bar for the first time.
Yeah, that'd be a good episode.
Oh, that would have been good.
5 seconds after reading this, I know. So no, they don't get a free pass. Scholarly journals are garbage.
Time for you just to get that lucrative television writing job.
Exactly. Get my time machine and go back and work with the Facts of Life.
Yeah, the dream.
In Hill Street Blues, they just put posters up. Out the world, and there's posters in the back.
I could see that because they were trying to be like a high class, serious drama. That was their whole shtick. Buying into this kind of wackier sitcom-y thing was not their style.
The band was never there, never mentioned.
Yeah.
The music was never played. It was just posters on the street.
Yeah.
Somebody was probably pushed up against
Hill Street Blues. The show was about cops.
Thanks, Jay.
I don't sure if people were aware of this.
I'm so glad you're on our show tonight.
I never watched Hill Street Blues.
It was a land version of the cop rock. Wait, was that under sea?
No, you mean a non-musical version.
No, I meant a land version because in my head, can't explain. In my head, cop rock somehow involved fish.
No,
it was underwater.
You're thinking of Fish Rock.
Family of Fish
We're
Rock.
making so many 80s references.
Fish Cop. Was Fish Cop a show? Fish Cop?
Yes, it was an animated show.
It was?
With John Ritter as as the main fish cop.
So that's what I was thinking of then.
Yeah, there you go.
So, T. Mike, we're going to talk about Double Trouble? Or was that Alan?
That was Alan, but I can do it.
Okay.
Fish Police.
Fish Police, that was what it was called.
There you go, Fish Police.
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah. Okay.
Small world.
So,
Good with Small World.
Apparently,
Small Wonder.
Alan's sister Carolyn loved the show Double Trouble. Anybody? I don't remember the show. Do you guys remember it?
No, I remember
vaguely.
Carolyn,
it was so apparently it's a TV version of Sweet Valley High. You got a pair of twins with opposite personalities that have little adventures. Starred Liz and Gene Segal, who were Segal, who were the former Doublemint twins. Oh, okay. And their older sister Katie Segal from Married with Children.
Right.
And Futurama.
Yes. A bigger star.
Former Doublemint twins. Are you ever not a Doublemint twin? I feel like it's like being an Eagle Scout. you're always one
until you turn it and
until you die. Yeah.
Until you abdicate.
Yeah. So anyway, their dad was played by Donnelly Rhodes, who was Dutch from the soap opera parody Soap.
Oh,
and
vaguely remember that.
I liked Soap. I thought it was pretty funny.
No, I vaguely remember
Billy
Dutch.
Crystal was on that.
Yeah, that was one of his early roles. Let's see. Dutch's girlfriend was a young Patricia Richardson who played Mom on Home Improvement.
Right.
So their very first episode is the one that interests us because it's about how Kate, the rebel, steals Allison's driver's license and their dad's car to go see Rudy and the Young Hawks. So it's kind of like what you were talking about, Charles. We don't actually see the band. Okay, this is lame. So you can kind of hear their hard rock production sounds behind the scenes when her dad catches her. And weirdly, they make a bigger deal about her stealing her sister's license than stealing the car, that is
car is property. A license is identity.
Ooh,
identity theft.
That sounds like somebody who works at the Autopian.
That is.
That's true. You got a stake in this. You got some skin in the game here now. All right. So I found. All right. Here's one I actually wrote up. You guys got the good shows. I found
I got the greatest show of all time.
You did.
The A-Team.
I got the crappy shows as usual. So we got the Yellow Rose. All right. So
but I will somewhere you picked it. You picked the Yellow Rose.
I did. I kind of like the bad ones. I got to admit. I confess. All right. So the Yellow Rose was an attempt by NBC to copy the very successful show Dallas, which was CBS's hit nighttime soap opera about a wealthy Texas oil and cattle family.
Took place in Houston.
No.
Oh.
You're thinking of Matt Houston took place in Dallas.
Oh,
there you go. See, but only the Yellow Rose is about a wealthy Texas oil and cattle family also.
They didn't have JR, though.
No, it had a young Sam Elliott in it, though.
There are some big names that were in the 1980s TV.
Doing terrible shows. Let's see. David Soul, who was a big hit in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., was on the show.
All the dead people listening
was it David Soul and Starsky and Hutch?
Oh, you're right. I thought you're right. I'm thinking of somebody else. You're right. My bad. David Soul from Starsky and Hutch.
Was he Hutch?
I can't remember.
Was he Starsky?
I can't. And he was the and. He was the ampersand. Sybil Shepherd.
Really?
Yeah, before her big starring role in the hit show Moonlighting in 1985, she's on The Yellow Rose for a season.
He was Hutch, by the way. I just looked it up.
Huh?
David Soul was Hutch.
He was Hutch. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I got him wrong. I got to mix up something.
How did this show not make it? This show has huge people in it.
I don't know. Anyway, in the episode called Sport of Kings from February 18th, 1984, Sybil Shepherd's character is gone undercover as a prostitute to try to catch a child sex trafficker who has kidnapped her daughter. And so she's in a bar.
It's not as funny nowadays, is it?
No, she's in a bar. She's meeting with some other hookers and talking to them, trying to
some other hookers. You're implying that Sybil Shepherd was a hooker.
Well, her character is undercover. Give me a break. What are you talking about?
What if they were all undercover?
No, that would have been funny, but this is a serious thing. So
okay.
She's trying to do you have any clients that like him young? Because she's trying to get a hook on this guy and find him out.
This makes me uncomfortable.
It does, and it should. It's a serious show, but depict a serious topic. It's a drama show. Character actor John Colicos plays the bad guy. He's always a great character actor bad guy. You probably don't recognize his name if you see his face, though, because he's always the bad guy who's like a little sleazy and smarmy on top, so he seems kind of nice at first, and then he just...
Like a sleazy guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Back to the bar, and our band is playing in the background. And so they don't have any lines, but you do see the name on the drum skin. Like I was talking about, this is important advertising for your bands, people.
Okay.
And
so they're in the bar
playing. They're playing while she's talking. They start off. They show the band, and then they fade the music down and slide over to her.
Did anyone notice this? Like how successful?
They got like a good hang on.
We'll get to how successful.
They got like a good 15, 20 seconds playing this song.
To the yellow rose in Texas that I am gonna see. No other soldier knows her, no soldier, only me. She's the sweetest rose of color this soldier ever knew. Her eyes are bright as diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. You may talk about your dear.
And that's a country rock version of the song Yellow Rose of Texas.
Oh, yes.
And they picked that song not only because The Yellow Rose is the name of the show, and it's also the song they used for the theme song for the show, only it was a different version done by Johnny Lee and Lane Brody. And while the Yellow Rose, the show, lasted one season, was a failure, that theme song version of the show was actually a big success. It went to number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country charts in April of 1984.
Okay.
And it's too bad, they didn't try to release the version by Rudy and the Young Hawks, but they already had the theme song version, so it's not like they could turn around and put out another version. So anyway, that didn't work out for the band.
Wait.
I think what it was is they didn't give him any lines in the show because it was such a serious topic, and the band was more, comic relief kind of character.
But I guess they were just trying to fit in, like they were using the characters to try to go. They could be in dramas as well. They weren't all just
the
comic
whole point.
relief.
Well, the whole point was.
But I guess the question is the bar. This is where all these like prostitutes and sex. The band is playing in this sleazy bar.
It looks kind of nice.
This right there has got to be one of the reasons why this band was not successful.
These are high class hookers. Trust me. It was a good looking bar.
This was a Radisson bar.
Yeah, it was like it might have been a hotel bar even. Yeah.
All you had to say was it was a Radisson.
Yeah, exactly. The quality of the hookers.
Because I'm wondering, of course the band's not going to be huge if everybody is all they're doing is they're playing in these dives. Yeah. People are not going to want to do it.
It was not a dive. It was a nice place.
Okay.
All right. So the next show is called The Rousters. This was also
I do not remember The Rousters. This was probably a 10 o'clock night one.
Yeah, this is another drama.
I did not get to watch many 10 o'clock at night shows.
My bedtime was 9.
I had to record Remington Steele and watch it the next day, as you recall from earlier in this episode.
All right. Well, speaking of the country hit, this show stars real country singer Hoyt Axton. We remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was a good time. So this was an NBC drama about some descendants of the famous cowboy lawman Wyatt Earp, historical figure. So Chad Everett played Wyatt Earp III. Chad Everett was huge on
Who's pitching this? Like, what is this?
It got aired. This is serious, people. He was huge on the show Medical Center in the 70s, playing a doctor. So he's like his star is fading, but it's not dead yet.
He was a heartthrob.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah. Anyway, his crazy old coot of a mom was Amanda Earp, played by Maxine Stewart. And guess who plays Wyatt's comic relief brother, Evan Earp?
Okay, so he's got to kind of be like a kind of a less handsome version of Chad Everett,
or maybe like a Sam Elliott-esque thing, but like
no, we already had Sam
combined
Elliott
with someone stupid.
Yes, that.
I give up.
Jim Varney.
Oh, the Hey Earl fella.
Know what I mean, Vern? Know what I mean? That
Hey
guy.
Earl. Hey Earl
Vern.
guy.
Hey, Vern.
Hey, Vern. Hey, Vern.
Are you
guy.
serious? This is Jim Varney.
Wasn't
Show a little respect. If they could cut off Teddy Roosevelt's face off of Mount Rushmore and put Jim Varney's on there, it would be a greater place.
It's not going to be your face, that's for sure, Torchisky.
Hey, Earl.
Earl
My
worked too. He may have had a friend named Earl.
You're thinking the show. You're thinking of My Name Is Earl or something.
Didn't he get to start doing milk ads?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Like,
Well,
So is this
in commercials.
Post milk ad?
No,
Post
I want to say the milk ads were later. I think it became more of a
He
pitch
started
man
it-
to-
he started in
went from
commercials,
a TV show to doing a local milk ads.
to doing movies.
Yeah, he
I
did,
mean,
he did.
eventually he got there. But
Roller coaster.
that is a roller coaster.
He milked it. He made it work. So anyway, the family is trying to follow in the family tradition of being lawmen by being bounty hunters, not cops, not sheriffs, not marshals. For some reason, bounty hunters. But NBC decided for this show, bounty hunting is not quite enough to hang a whole show on. What can we add to bounty hunting to make it even more better? And of course, the answer is a traveling carnival.
Wait, what?
You got your chocolate and my peanut butter.
Peanut butter on my chocolate.
What?
Two great tastes that taste great together.
Wyatt works as a bouncer for the traveling Slade Town Carnival
Yes,
run by Slade, and that's Hoyt Axton. In the episode The Carnival That Ate Slade Town of October 15th, 1983, the Slade Town Carnival is accidentally double booked in whatever field it is they're in with the Thrill-O-Rama show. And the Thrill-O-Rama guy is really mad. He's threatening violence if the carnival doesn't get out of their spot. Toot sweet pronto.
I mean, honestly, I'm on his side. He booked that field.
Well, they both booked it. They have to like make calls and then anyway, but he's like being a real jerk about it.
Because it wouldn't be a good show about watching them both on the phone saying, well, no, wait a minute. I got it
distinctly
first.
remember.
I do have the paperwork.
Yeah, I'd like to see the paper.
It's more interesting when it's like, I'm going to rough you up with this 2x4.
That's right. So anyway, so Rudy and the Young Hawks get involved in the mix-up and they show up and they can't get a hold of their agent and they're not sure which guys they're supposed to play for. They're definitely supposed to play in this location, but they don't know if they can't figure out if it's the Thrill-O-Rama guy or if it's the carnival guy, and they get pressured by Slade at one point and they get threatened by, the Thrill-O-Rama guy at another point. So they actually get much more work to this episode. They were much more on board with the band in this one. They got dialogue. William H. Macy and Jim Varney get to be these, affable idiots together in a scene. It's pretty funny.
I've seen that. That's all I've seen on YouTube.
Okay, all
and
right.
that was in this show.
Yeah, it was from this show.
I just assumed it was some stupid movie of
A TV movie.
of the Hey Earl guy.
So wait, the band, so Captain Cactus Jack Slade, I just looked up, apparently was his nickname.
Okay, yeah.
Now, the band wasn't aware. It was just location based. They didn't know who. Like, wait, it's a carnival or what was the other show?
The Thrill-O-Rama show.
I feel like the difference between a Thrill-O-Rama and a carnival is large enough that this band should have
You
been
would
aware.
think so,
Well, I
but
mean,
this is a bar band.
I would make a different set list.
They couldn't get a hold of their agent at the beginning of the show, and now they're just kind of trying to run on like it's one of those situations where it's like I thought you had the directions. I thought you had the directions.
Jason brought up a very good point, though. They could just put it on disguises and play with both of them.
Yeah, they could. And then then they get double the cash.
Yeah, they
that's
could
what I
have.
should've
All right. Well, anyway, even though the show is on board with the band is just the B plot. The A plot is the bounty, who is a mild-mannered mechanic played by Chuck McCann, who you will probably remember from Far Out Space Nuts.
Oh yeah,
the Sid and Marty Krofft show.
Yeah, with the launch lunch button. Issue.
Yeah, he was like the bargain basement version of
NASA did
Alan
fix that
Hale.
problem, though,
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they didn't do that anymore.
They call it midday meal on the button, so that doesn't happen again.
That's good. Yeah, he was sort of the low rent Alan Hale Jr. character, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Eventually, they solve the case. Turns out he was framed, and they have to, Wyatt solves it, and then. So then toward the end of the episode, the carnival guys, the Thrill-O-Rama guys get in this big climactic fist fight. So we got Casey, the bass player, getting in there, getting to punch some people. And the cops show up and haul off all the Thrill-O-Rama guys. And then finally, they can have the concert, and Rudy and the Young Hawks play the rock show at the carnival. And then they cut away and kind of wrap up the little loose ends. After that, then they have the end credits. The band gets to play under the end credits. So, and what do you think they play? What do you think you don't know? What they play. This is hilarious to me.
Okay, it has to be with a carnival related, right? I guess,
well, see, that's
or something, or like some sort of ride.
It'd be Thrill-O-Rama related.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, they play a cover.
They play Thriller.
Well, they're a bar band, so they do a cover. I don't think Thriller's been out yet, is it? When did it come out?
Around 1983?
Yeah, it was 83. You're right. No, they play a Molly Hatchet song. They play Molly Hatchet's 1978 song, Bounty Hunter, from their debut album.
So they gave away that the carnival people are bounty hunters. People who go to carnivals are probably people with bounty hunters.
So the carnival was a cover for the bounty
hunter? No, it was like his day job. And he wasn't making enough bounty hunting.
Side hustle was bounty hunting.
The side hustle was bounty hunting.
Anyway, you can really hear Judy Landers whacking that cowbell on that one. Instead of a tambourine, they gave her a cowbell for this song.
That's fantastic.
He had range.
So The Rousters was canceled after only 6 episodes.
What? That's shocking.
Yes, ouch.
A show about a carnival with bounty hunters as their carnies.
About Wyatt Earp's great-great-grandson.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, grandson, I guess, yeah. So fortunately, though, our next series was much more successful. It lasted 8 episodes.
Oh, you sure did look at the dregs. Did you not know that Knight Rider was available? Nobody picked Knight Rider.
Really? Oh man,
you could have watched a whole episode of Knight Rider.
I feel like they were in an episode of Knight Rider.
I don't know. Anyway,
they were, yeah. But we didn't. We could all pick which episodes we wanted to write about.
I thought for sure you guys had that covered.
And T-Mike picked Legman.
If I didn't have to jump in the last minute, I would have picked the odd Knight Rider thing because I know I've seen an episode of Knight Rider with what I now has to be that band in the back.
All right. Well, now I'm going to do the show is called Legman.
There was a show called Legmen?
Yeah, it came after Assmen.
No, Legmen. Jack and David are the Legmen. They are a couple of hip, cool Southern California college students who are good looking in the sort of that bland 1980s kind of way.
With the Izod shirts?
Yes, exactly. They're played by Bruce Greenwood and John Terlinsky, and they're working their way through college, and they do legwork for this private eye / bail bondsman named Oscar Armist-Mindy, who's played by Don Calfa. And in the later episode, somehow they managed to switch this character out in an 8 episode season with a different guy named Tom Bannon, who was played by Claude Akins, Sheriff Lobo.
Okay. Sheriff Lobo. Oh, so Legman is they do the legwork for the private eye. They do the legwork for the private eye. They do all the research and such.
Anyway, so in the very first episode, Take the Credit and Run, January 20th, 1984, the boys have to repossess a Ferrari for Oscar. And before it goes back to the car dealer on Monday, they get it successfully. They decide, well, let's have a little fun since it doesn't have to be turned in for a couple of days. And they decide to sneak it out that very night and do some cruising on the boulevard to pick up chicks. Oh, yeah. And there's a montage of them driving and shots of people breakdancing on the streets and, wacky looking characters. Yeah. They don't have the band on a marquee because it's like real life. They actually shot some real life footage, but they didn't bother to get a marquee made up. So they just cut to the band inside. You see the drum skin, and they're playing the music that is over the scene. While they're driving around doing the montage, which is a cover of ZZ Top's song "Tush" or "Tush." How do you say it?
I assume "Tush."
Tush.
You an ass?
Yeah, "Tush." Anyway, that's not a bad version. Not a bad. That was a top 20 hit for ZZ Top
Never heard of Tush
in 1977. You know what the problem? 1975, it was a top 20 hit. The problem is, I'm thinking of Bill Tush from TBS. He was a guy they tried to push to be a star. He had his own.
John Tesh.
No, this is Bill Tush. He had his own sketch comedy TV series, very obscure now, worth looking up though. I had a couple fake bands. I got one in there. I know.
So the band made it to the Sunset Strip.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good. Okay.
And here's the willing suspension of disbelief breaking for me is because they actually managed to pick up a couple of girls because they're driving a cool car. Jason, what's the rule? What do really cool cars attract, Jason?
Usually dudes. Well, it depends on the car.
Really? What's the chick attracting cars?
Jeeps.
Cute cars.
cute little cars. So one of the girls they pick up is Cindy, played by Janine Turner.
Oh, I remember her.
As Maggie in that great series Northern Exposure from 1990, 1995. Great show, great job, great role for her. This is an early role for her. looking in the trunk of this repossessed Ferrari, they find a saxophone in the trunk in its case, and out of the saxophone falls a mysterious key. And Cindy takes it and plays it, the sax, not the key.
Wait.
She's a music major. Turns out she's a music major at the college, and she has a perfect embouchure. And here she's playing.
I'm just going to say, I don't play an instrument.
But you're in brochure.
If I played a saxophone and somebody opened some random trunk, there's a random saxophone, I'm not playing it.
You know what? Put your lips on?
No.
Now, what's especially funny is...
she wiped it with her sleeve.
Oh, she did? Oh, well, I didn't know that part.
It, like when you drop food.
Yeah. Okay,
While they're wandering around, so she's playing the sax, they're wandering around, they left the car, and then the car gets stolen back by the goons they stole it from, or repossessed it from in the beginning of the show. When Oscar finds out, he says, you got to get the car back by Monday or go to jail. Or go to the hospital, then go to jail.
You got options.
So they got to find the car, and they go back to where they repossessed it from.
What terrible shows these are.
Yeah.
They go back to... So we got a bonus fake musician already here. We got Cindy. They go back to where they got it from, and it belongs to a guy named Roy Turner. And then when they're at his place, it turns out he's missing, but there's his daughter going, hey, what are you guys doing trying to break into my dad's garage? Guess who Sarah Turner is played by? Jan Smithers from WKRP.
Oh, great.
Bailey from WKRP.
She was my favorite.
But this show's got all the great people on it.
Exactly. So there's also a bit part in the episode played by Bill Dial, who played Buckley Dornster on a couple episodes of WKRP. So get a WKRP 2 for here, people. Bucky
Dornster.
Bucky Dornster. Come on, man. It was in IMDb. I don't remember this character either. So anyway,
you don't have to add everything.
All right, fine. It was a connection. Anyway,
they call it editing.
They find out Roy isn't one of the goons who was getting the car back that they got it from. It was they chased him down. They find out that Sarah has been trying to reconnect with her dad for several years, but her dad is a flake. He's a ne'er-do-well. He's not a great dad.
20 minutes later.
Hang on, let me back up a second.
Does the band come back in this?
Yeah.
We don't have to tell the whole episode if the band's not in it anymore.
No. Okay. I know, actually, there's more bands.
Okay.
All right. So they talk with her, and they remember the key from the saxophone.
Right.
So they get the key, and because they kept the saxophone, even though the car got stolen back, they had the sax out with them. So they have the key, and it goes to a gym locker.
Pause like when you're doing what you're doing right now and just wonder why am I doing this? You are retelling the plot of a terrible sitcom nobody remembers.
That's right. Nobody cares about or remembers.
One, it was a drama, not a sitcom.
Oh, sorry.
And
Well,
two, it lasted
drama?
No, this had humorous. This was much more lighthearted.
Dramedy.
It lasted 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, keep going. By all means.
I am invested in this show at this point.
Clearly.
He watched it, so now we all have to know about it.
If you had a graph, the amount that this show has been talked about, this is a spike.
This is a huge
like
spike.
Burj Khalifa level
Absolutely.
Like Fuquay Varina skyline, Burj Khalifa.
I confessed already, I love doing these weird, obscure things that nobody remembers.
On the left side, it's like 0 and 1. Those are your own options.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so they get the key, they go to the gym, and it's a mystery briefcase in the locker. But guess who? We get to the band again.
6.5 hours later.
In the suitcase, though, also is an invitation to a party by Onslaught Records that very night. So the
these 3-hour episodes?
No,
what are we still going on?
It took me 3 hours to transcribe this.
God,
bands are coming. Chill, bands are coming. Anyway, so Turner played on an album for Onslaught Records. So now the goons are like, all right, well, let's go to the party and maybe get Turner there because they're after Turner. Meanwhile, the boys talk to Sarah and decide, well, they also need to find Turner. And Sarah says, you can talk to these people at the party, at the Onslaught Records party, because they'll have worked with them and maybe they can help us. So now they're both headed for the party. And at the party, Rudy and the Young Hawks are playing.
Who is part of the NBC ecosystem, just to remind people after this 25 minutes of this.
Thank you. Can't wait to use NBC's ecosystem in all subsequent episodes of this show.
Nepo baby.
Nepo Cantina Band. The Young Hawks are playing, only now this is a little bit lame. They have an invisible horn section.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Well, they had the saxophone.
Yeah.
No, that was
the saxophone plays itself. It's a ghost.
Well,
it's just bad production. It was just bad production.
This is the same episode, right?
Yes.
This is still the same episode with the Ferrari.
It's a crossover with the sitcom Ghost Sax.
No. It's just like they didn't have the band doesn't have a horn section, but they just recorded it that way and they didn't care. So anyway, we get two more fake bands. So the boys are wandering around the party trying to say, "Hey, do you know Roy Turner? You heard of Roy Turner?" And they're hitting on chicks. And one girl asks one of the guys, "Hey, are you in The Mirrors?" So there's a fake band. And then in another conversation, the other guy's trying to impress some chick, and he says,
"The Backstreet's been hounding me to do another ska video. How you doing? You remember the last one? Girl Scouts and leather, releasing all these doves."
So we have a metafictional ska band, The Backstreet. Anyway, also at the party is someone named Gloria who worked with Roy.
I got her number.
Did you?
I might have the alias she's been living under. I really don't remember.
It's not clear though. See, I thought maybe she was a singer or something.
In her head. Colin. All right, keep going. Let's go. Let's get this episode. Go.
You got no attention span,
dude. Oh my God.
I thought she was a singer, but she's just somebody who worked with Roy. They don't say how she did it.
All right.
So
one more question. Yeah. Is there anything else about our fake band?
A little bit at the end here. We got.
What is that part?
All right. I'll skip. All right. I'll skip to that part. She's anyway. Gloria's played by Grace Zabriskie from Twin Peaks.
If we lost our guest here,
all right.
Imagine with the people listening.
All right.
Wait. I want to make something clear. T-Bike says I'm skipping something, and then I heard the things he's saying next. I'm looking at the script right now. He didn't skip anything.
Give me a minute. I'll skip something.
He didn't skip a thing.
They got to decode the sheet music. So who do they get? They bring back Cindy from the first part of the show.
I don't remember Cindy.
She was the one who plays the saxophone. She finds in Strange Trucks.
Maggie from Northern Exposure. So they get her back and they figure out the code. The code takes them to a warehouse where they have to break in and get the secret package. And it's full of counterfeit credit cards. And that's what all this was about. Roy was supposed to be. Roy pops up. Roy finally turns up. They kidnap the daughter, Sarah, and Roy turns up. And they have to try to make a trade of the stolen credit card.
And who was Roy?
Counterfeit credit. He's the jazz musician. He's the saxophonist whose saxophone started this whole thing.
I thought he was the guy who ran the private investigation.
No, that was Oscar.
Is he counterfeiting the credit cards?
No, he was supposed to just be part of the deal. He was supposed to distribute them. But he got cold feet, tried to back out of the deal. The goons are on him. They want the cards, so they kidnapped his daughter.
No, don't tell us.
It all.
We were skipping ahead.
It all back, and we're done. All right.
Do you know what episode out of the 8 was this one?
First.
Sounds like
that should have been it.
Sounds like 2 through 5.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the band forever in this one.
Legman.
All this for fake credit cards in the 80s?
Yeah.
Everyone had a fake credit card in the 80s.
Counterfeit, man. They were worth $1 million, man. Maybe more. You weren't there.
Legman, they say. That's what they do the show.
The ka-chink machine.
All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ka-chunk,
so, okay. So we went through a whole bunch of episodes for this. 1983, 1984. In the end, did this experiment work? Probably not, because the band was dropped from existence the next year.
What do you mean probably? It did not work at all.
Nobody cares. Nobody remembers it. It's forgotten lore.
Yeah, it seemed like they just shoved him in the background. Like, why would anybody remember these?
Sometimes it
was the individual producers of the shows weren't buying into it. A lot of, especially the bigger shows, these crappy little shows. Yeah, they had the band in there the whole way, but it wasn't the bigger shows, the popular shows weren't buying into it. So the whole thing just kind of failed.
And to be fair, we haven't discussed every show on the lineup. Like we talked about Knight Rider, we didn't do Knight Rider.
I thought
there could be some other ones where they're bigger, but this show, I mean, nobody remembers this band. Nobody remembers. I'm going to ask you right now, who was the name of the lead singer?
Rudy, because it's the name of the band.
No, but what was the actor?
Oh, no.
See, nobody remembers that.
Toby. What's Toby's last name?
Toby Riggins. Nobody remembers.
Well, he didn't go anywhere.
See, because the band wasn't successful.
If it ever got remembered, it's because of William H. Macy, and he did too much other stuff.
This just happened.
Better stuff.
It was an idea that got a little more credit just because it coincided with the surge in viewers in the network, but just because Cheers got better, Knight Rider got better, A-Team got better. I mean, all these shows more popular.
I thought you said surgeon viewer.
Like those were the people like St. Elsewhere, ER, Chicago Med, all those programs like that.
This was a really, I really admire this concept as an idea. It's really bold. It's new. It was exciting. I love the idea of it. The execution of it was terrible. The casting, the music is just, it just did
listen
not
to that
work
retelling of the Rousters episode.
No,
I don't know.
You're talking
Rousters were cool.
Legman, whatever the hell it was. My God.
All right.
I mean, William H. Macy, Michael Rooker, they became stars. Miguel Ferrer,
he was all right.
Star.
The Hey Vern guy, of course.
Well, he wasn't in the band. He was in the Rousters.
Judy Landers.
Oh yeah, lovely.
She still did what she did. You know, she actually got to be a star on Madam's Place.
Did not derail her career, thank God.
Toby Riggins, never heard from him again.
Wow,
did not become a
bold
star.
Experiment though, gotta hand
it was.
NBC for
it was a bold experiment. Let's just leave it at that.
I'm not sure you could say it's a failed experiment, or maybe I think it didn't do what they thought it was going to do. They got successful. They became the #1 network, but not because of this.
Oh, hell no. It was coincidence, if at best.
All right. Anyway, Forgotten Fake Bands never die. They only serve as content for our show. And for all the horrible TV shows that T-Mike watches that he needs to let us know minute by minute.
Feel my pain, people.
I'm Charles. There's Jason Torchinsky, everybody. There's Mr.
Go to the autopian.com.
Please, yes. Come read about cars at my car website, autopian.com.
All right.
Is it Autopian?
It's both. We got both URLs. The Autopian or Autopian. Either one works.
There's Mr. T, Mike.
I pity the fool who doesn't listen to our podcast.
And this has been the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the Rocklopedia. Okay, April Fools, everybody. That didn't happen at all.
Nothing. None of that was true.
The only thing that happened
existed.
The show that T-Mike told you about for 25 minutes, that was actually a real one, but the band wasn't in it.
No, the band wasn't in any of it. There was no band.
That was an actual episode, though,
right? That was an episode. Actually, all the episodes were actual episodes. All my episodes were actual episodes.
There's no NBC ecosystem. There's no Rudy and the Young Hawks. No. That's an April Fool's joke.
William H. Macy, also complete fiction. He was a CIA psyop.
Actually. We wanted to pick people who would be roughly like in their 20s around that time.
We wanted to get we worked to get all the actors cast right.
The fake names of the bands. Those were all sketch comedy groups that we performed with.
Right, you're right. The beginning of the episode.
Yeah,
and I'm sure when they hear it, they're going to be
very excited. Very excited. When the actual size fan club hears about this, our numbers are going to spike. Big. So yeah, April Fools, fake band and everything.
Double
but now this is your chance to fool your friends because that little fake ending there, you now know it's fake.
So you can go fool your friends. Say, hey, you got to check this fake thing out from 80s TV. You love 80s TV.
Exactly.
Like all good-hearted normal Americans, you want to listen to this interesting trivia show about it.
So one thing you want to say when you start playing it with your friends, first you say, God, I hope they don't talk about that stupid show Legman.
Yeah. Your soon-to-be former friends.
My God, if they play that show Legman, I'm going to turn it off.
Yeah, how's this supposed to work exactly?
You're
just sit with them.
You put it in your car. You're driving in your car. You put it on and start playing about it. And you can start going, oh, hey, I remember that. I remember there was a band the A-Team was great. Oh, there's bands in all those? Just kind of play along with it. Sure. Talk about it. Yeah.
There you go.
You could say, hey, I'm a big fan of William H. Macy, but I don't know he was in a band.
No idea.
Tell me more.
There you go, man. Yeah, just play it up. And you can fool your friends.
Anyway,
all the
then
joy.
Halfway into that Legman episode, they'll be like, we've been sitting in the parking lot for 20 minutes. Why won't you let me leave your car?
Our reservation was 30 minutes ago.
You're hurting my arm.
Anyway, happy April Fool's Day.
Happy Fools, everybody.
And this has been the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. Thanks for listening. For real. You've been listening to the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica, a production of the Van Gogh Sketch Comedy Group. The hosts are Alan Benson, T. Mike Childs, and Charles Rempel. Our editors are Alan Benson and Charles Rempel. Please be sure to subscribe to the Rocklopedia on your service of choice so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you, so leave a review or email us at fakebands@vgg.com. And don't forget to visit fakebands.com and the mothership, vgg.com. Thanks for listening.